and lay the groundwork for a stronger, more resilient economy.
Moody's has cautioned that any setbacks in fiscal consolidation or failures to implement could reverse the positive momentum. But for now, the message to investors and the international community, according to Director Raming, is clear.
We are in a stronger position today than we were 3.5 years ago.
Well, Moody's says it will continue monitoring the country's fiscal discipline and resilience to these external shocks that we mentioned. A full upgrade in the credit rating could very well be on the horizon, barring unforeseen circumstances. Clint?
Thanks a lot, Devontae Hanna right there. Well, meantime, the central bank governor is providing a fiscal forecast as the country enjoys this positive outlook rating from Moody's while it scrupulously watches a potential escalating global trading war. Governor John Rose shared his reaction with Corval Pfeiffer.
Like the government, the governor welcomes international credit rating agency Moody's improved outlook for the country's economy. But Governor John Rule is still cautious.
The important point to stress insofar as the positive outlook is for credit ratings is that one has to continue to look at the medium-term prospects for the Bahamian economy and the medium term in terms of how we anticipate progress will continue to show up in terms of getting the government deficit reduced and getting the debt ratios relative to GDP lower.
The governor spoke to ZNS News also about what he thinks lies ahead amid an escalating trade war between global superpowers, the United States and China.
There's no reason for any of us to be panicked.
Some financial watchers have begun using the term economic winter to describe what may be ahead if these circumstances persist, meaning economic hardships, slowdowns, recessions compounded by increased unemployment all await us. The governor, however, feels there will be impact to our tourism sector, as he's indicated before, if the trade war intensifies. But that, he says, is far from near.
We just be calm and level-headed and just exercise, an appropriate amount of caution and consideration in terms of how you plan, those major expenditures and expenses in the near term.
This expert believes consumers right now should continue to use common sense practices when spending.
You want people to continue to focus on how they plan for their finances, whether it's mortgages or other large activities, over a medium and longer term perspective, and to always have a very strong focus on being disciplined and balanced in terms of, trying to have some of your income, accumulate in savings, because your savings really tend to be a part of the cushion or the buffer, when you encounter these sort of uncertainties.
The governor of the central bank acknowledges that these are uncertain times and predicts a cooling of sorts of our economy ahead. But even with this chilling picture, Governor Roll is adamant that the country is not headed for an economic winter. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corval Pfeiffer.
Well, we've got more details tonight on the government's reaction to the positive outlook for Moody's. The Director of Communications at the Office of the Prime Minister, you saw him earlier tonight, Latrell Raming. He's here. We're going to go into a deeper conversation on this matter. He'll join me in the studio. Then we're talking politics. Former Progressive Liberal Party Cabinet Minister Leslie Miller. They call him you got it, the pot cake. He's going to weigh in on the current country's political climate, particularly the story that everyone's talking about, the Free National Movement now renominating former leader, Killarney MP, Dr. Hubert Minnis. And why is Dr. Minnis so quiet? We're going to talk about that. It's going to be an exciting show. You want to stick around. The rundown, we're going to get started with our conversation right after the break. Stay with us.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we have been in Exuma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is to do some work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass it along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
Exuma is the place for excitement at the National Family Island Regatta. April 23rd through 26th, tune into the ZNS network for Regatta Time. Sailors from around the country will gather in picturesque Elizabeth Harbor for the ultimate showdown, and we'll be right there. Don't miss Regatta Time, April 23rd through 26th at 4 p.m. right here on the ZNS network.
Welcome back to The Rundown. Thank you all for joining us, whether you're in the lines and on social media or where you're watching by YouTube on your various platforms in the Turks and Caicos around the region or internationally, or just here at home. Thank you for joining us on The Rundown. We appreciate your tuning in. Well, it's the Prime Minister's view that yesterday's credit rating from stable to positive by Moody's, the first time in nearly 20 years, signals growing confidence in the nation's economy. To get to this point really hasn't been easy. The Ministry of Finance labored many hours, we're told, with the assistance of several government agencies to fine-tune the numbers. Watching it all on the sidelines has been the Office of the Prime Minister's Director of Communications, Latrey Ramming, and he joins me now on The Rundown to talk more about what this all means. Latrey, welcome to The Rundown. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me, man. I said we've been watching, they say.
I do. We have the exact same thing. I guess great minds think alike. All right, let's jump right into it. Let's see if we're matching by the end of this conversation. So Moody's has released their statement. Oh. And they've said that it's going from stable to positive. What I want to do is set the foundation to describe how we got here as a nation. A few years ago, the Prime Minister, in coming to office, would have said that there were some stringent measures that he and his financial team, including Nat Benaby, the Financial Secretary, Simon Wilson, and others, Michael Alkeidas, Minister responsible for Economic Affairs, would meet on a weekly basis to see how this formula they were putting in place, whether this would have the effect it wanted to have. And many times people will be like, why not borrow? The government is cash strapped, why not borrow? And they refuse to borrow because they were trying to achieve a certain financial position to put the country in. Mm-hmm. Does this rating now signal that these measures that were being put in place by the financial team and the Prime Minister actually worked?
I mean, definitely. I mean, it is a form of vindication. What is important to note, Clint, is that 3 years ago, none of the financial institutions that have now given the Bahamas a very positive rating believed that we would be here. They thought that the recovery of the Bahamas was a long shot. They didn't see it foreseeable. They thought that the Prime Minister would not be able to do so if he did not increase VAT from 7% to, I mean, at the time it was 12% to 15%. And he's been able to do that under without having to foreshadow any very difficult economic decisions. We've increased the minimum wage. We've the government brought the Bahamas to one of its lowest unemployment levels from 2008. And so no one would have predicted this. Persons tried to attribute it that coming out of the pandemic, this would have happened naturally. We strongly disagree with that notion. This was the effort of the Prime Minister and his finance team. As you indicated, they meet every single week. And so what going from stable means is that the Prime Minister promised that when he take over that he would put the Bahamas on stable footing. He've achieved that. Now the Bahamas is to a place where the future of the country and its economic outlook is more positive. like I said during the press conference, whilst the Bahamas is at a junk status, we are optimistic that if things continue to hold, that rating would improve.
When you look at the financial footing of the Bahamas and what what it has done, how much of this is attributed to what people obviously argue as good governance? The opposition has gone on record saying this administration has not managed the economy well. What do you say when the opposition says, well, okay, maybe you lucked out on this one, but you're still failing. You're still involved in what they see as corruption. What do you say in response to that?
I think the good news for the opposition is obviously bad news. I mean, good news for the Bahamas is bad news for the opposition. Obviously, the Modi saying that the country is performing extremely well is not something that the opposition would like to hear if they want to become the government. the argument is that we think that we could do a better job. I mean, that's the whole argument as an opposition. And so I think that they are facing a level of difficulty because on one front, they are saying that the government is mismanaging funding, it's not managing the country properly. And you have these international agencies whose responsibility it is to give foreign investors and credit agencies advice. Is saying, listen, man, the Bahamas government is managing their economy extremely well. So this is in a direct contradiction with the Modi report. Now, I tell you, if we had a report saying that this was a negative outlook, they would have used the same basis of that report to whale the government for its performance. I find it extremely strange that the opposition didn't say anything on the statement. They could have said, whilst we are positive by the outlook, they could have. So even their inability to even recognize the progress of the country, if not the PLP, shows their inability to reconcile with this progress the government is making.
When we look at what Prime Minister Davis is seeking to do, going into what many people will term as the election budget, the budget that obviously takes you into in the general election. How is he managing being able to continue along that vein to maintain that rating? Because you can know it could change in months, and then you're right back into election with international rating agencies saying you're bad. So he has to put some things in place to be able to maintain this posture. How do you do that, but yet try to bring relief to people who've said the cost of living must come down?
So I think there's two things, Clint. One, obviously, is there's the external factors, whether it's the tariff war, whether it's the a hurricane season per se. And so obviously the Ministry of Finance have to manage the possibilities of a lot of things. On the second front, you know, the government budget is a reflection of priorities. And the Prime Minister, no doubt, will have to signal to the Bahamian people that this is what my government view as a priority of my administration. We've said for a long period of time that bringing down the cost of living is the singular most important driver of this government's efforts. We've made the largest investment in energy reform. What I think you would see from this budget is that there's going to be a focus, I would say, on expanding opportunities for Bahamians. I think that we've stabilized the economy is solid, but I think the Prime Minister now is going to focus on creating an environment for young Bahamians to return to, people on their own homes, business to invest, Bahamians to get their access to scholarship opportunities. I think that is where we're going to go to navigate balancing this cost of living crisis, but at the same time expand opportunity. I know it's very difficult to do because you want to achieve the same fiscal parameters, but I think once he sets his priority as an administration, it makes everything much easier.
The opposition sat on this show a few days ago and said that the reduction in electricity costs is not really a reduction in electricity costs, it's because it's the winter months. Yeah. What do you say to that?
I mean, I go back to what I said initially, that good news for the government is bad news for the FNM. There is never a substantive argument that the opposition would make on any number of issues, right? Yes, consumption is going to be down, but it's very difficult to argue that improving the transmission and distribution, improving access to new energy systems, so you rely, transiting into LNG, providing a path to solar isn't in one achieving short-term measures, setting midterm goals, and long-term prospects. And so if the PLP or the government is, quote-unquote, to achieve these things, it makes a very difficult argument for the opposition. So their goalposts is also going to move, but look, it is what it is because it's a winter period, or it's that, it's this, or it's that, or that. And so we are going to remain consistent that the energy plan that we've put forth, what the opposition has failed to do in their term, is a blueprint for the success of our energy sector.
Grand Bahama still remains a concern, and no matter how much ratings that show the government is doing well, how many agencies say the investment is strong, people are going to look at their environment and they're going to say, well, it's still not happening. We still don't have a sale for the Grand Lucine Hotel. We still don't have an investment for restructuring for the airport on Grand Bahama. These are items that people in Grand Bahama look at as a sign that they've recovered. The government still continues to struggle to solve those issues.
I think one of the things that this administration is fortunate to have is that you have a prime minister who represents a family island, and you have a deputy prime minister who represents a family island. So I think they are acutely aware of the concerns of family islands in general. Obviously, Grand Bahama remains a critical part for long-term economic development. I think that there's no secret this administration, and by extension of why the government, know that the most crucial priorities to Grand Bahama's development is, one, airlift and infrastructure for the airport, and obviously the hotel. And I will go as far as saying confident that the Prime Minister is going to make tremendous progress on those two fronts.
Is there discussion yet about what we need to do differently, what we haven't done well enough? Are those discussions taking place yet as the term looks to an end in the view?
I mean, what the conversations we're having internally right now, obviously, is having a sharpened focus on the priorities of an administration. Obviously, we are less than 15 odd months from that. And so we're going to continue to focus on what is going to be achieved. Obviously, the Prime Minister is going to set the argument that we've made tremendous progress as an administration. Do you want to risk that progress? I mean, it took us 3.5 years for the Moody's to say that the Bahamas are now seeing the turn. So I think obviously the Prime Minister is going to continue to push on key fronts that matter most of the Bahamian people. He's going to make that argument that he offers the best version of getting his country on track. And obviously, him and the Bahamas, Bahamian people will have to choose between the contrast of the version of the Bahamas they want.
Do you believe that the administration is doing a good job communicating what it's doing to the Bahamian people? Your job is communications director, and there's always that issue as whether or not people know what the government is doing. How are you addressing that?
So I am satisfied on that. I've had sufficient evidence to know that people are getting across what the government's doing on a number of fronts. But you asked the question, there are some lingering priorities that the government has yet to take off its list. For example, the hospital and the airport. So communications reinforces what the government has accomplished thus far. Communications bring clarity to the government's decisions. And once we have continued to fulfill a number of aspects of the government's mandate, then you will see the continued aspects of Bahamians understanding, okay, this government has invested in the airport, they've opened the hotel. I mean, so that's how, so communication will amplify the continued success of the administration. I think that the government's overall communication, if you would compare to successive administrations and some of the efforts started by you and that continues, we definitely have had a much more improved infrastructure in getting the government message across. Is there room for growth? Obviously, but most certainly I think that we've done a much better job than if you were to compare other administrations.
Describe an ideal finale, 15 months for the administration. What would that include, and what would some of those checks on that list be?
I think you always ask yourself the question, what's the speech you want to deliver? to the public going into the election. Now, obviously, answering that question, I know my opponents will be looking, but I think confidently that we have restored the economic stability of the Bahamas. We've improved the Bahamas' global image internationally. We have provided and expanded opportunities for Bahamians. We have undergone the largest energy reform the country's ever seen. We've made significant investments on our family islands insofar as infrastructure and getting some of those key projects going. We have began the process of reestablishing the trust in our institutions and the reforms around the police force, whether it's corruption or providing accountability, and that the Bahamas is better off than it was 4 years ago.
I'm going to bring some of the comments from the lines and so see your take on it. C. Alan Johnson, who supports the Free National Movement, says we need 10,000 jobs on Grand Bahama.
Yes.
What the hell opening a single hotel would do towards creating that critical job mass? What we lack is a vision to build a 21st century economy, the type of vision that Michael C. Pintar will bring after the next election. What do you say to that?
I mean, I see Alan Johnson always presents himself as the carrier of all solutions that the Bahamas needs, and I respect him for it. He has to say what he has to say. What I find to be so interesting and fascinating is that Kwesi Thompson, Iram Lewis, Michael Pintard, Peter Turnquist were all senior officials in the Minister's Cabinet. They all had prominent jobs. Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Minister of State for Grand Bahama,
Minister of State for Works,
Minister of Agriculture, all had prominent roles. Those four alone could have established a committee in Minister's Cabinet, especially for Grand Bahama, and they never did it. Now all of a sudden, they want us to believe that we must believe that in 4 years, they now have come to a point where they have a vision for Grand Bahama. I seriously doubt that is the case. I seriously doubt it's the case because they themselves have not been able to confront where they stand on the issues of very complex issues, which is Grand Bahama Port Authority.
And where does that stand? The government has made a very bold position in going head-to-head with the Port Authority. Where does that stand? I
think the two parties are at the table, obviously. The government position has not changed. We believe that the current model is not working, but dialogue is happening. The Prime Minister position will not change, and we hope C. Alan Johnson could get the message to the leader of the opposition that being on the right side of the matter will make a huge difference for the people of Grand Bahama.
All right, I'll give you the final question and the final response, and that simply is. This Moody has set the pace, the Moody's rating has set the pace, obviously, for the administration as it prepares for budget. At the end of the day, what are the watchwords?
Expanding opportunities for Bahamians. Expanding opportunities for Bahamians. I think that's where we are. And making sure that Bahamians can live in a country where they not only make ends meet, but they could strive. I mean, that's the goal of where we're going.
All right, Director of Communications in the Office of the Prime Minister, Latrell Ramey, my former colleague. Good to see you. Thank you for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Oh, no.
When we come back, it ain't gonna be so diplomatic. Pot cake. We're gonna talk some political issues, talk some political talk, get his perspective on what's been happening on the political front. He's gonna give his analysis. Leslie Miller, he's next, right here in the Rundown. Stay there.
Hi everyone, when heading to Florida to shop for your essentials, book your transportation with GoGoFlorida.com. The $100 cash deposit is back now on your debit card. Accepted at Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Palm Beach, and Orlando. Now there are lots of options to choose from, but I like the Tesla X, the electric vehicle, because I don't have to worry about gassing up. Or the Jeep Compass seating 5 with lots of space for your luggage or shopping bags. For the best deals, book now at GoGoFlorida.com, BahamasAir.com, and also available at Bahamas Air Sales Office.
Let's go. At Frame Studio, as soon as you enter the door, we showcase any individual that comes in there and make it feel like they are at home. The space itself is 1,800 square foot. Our psych wall, which is industry standard also, is 24 feet wide. You can do anything that you can possibly think of. At Frame Studio, under our theme, Now Create More, we look at Frame Studio as a canvas, and any artist know a canvas is blank, and then you create whatever you want to do, right? So we have where you could rent tools. We even have workstations that people could rent out. To anyone inspiring to do what I've done, or what my colleagues have done, or any other journey, I would say to you, don't be afraid. The worst someone can actually tell you is no. So if you have a vision, you have an idea, not everyone will get it. But if you believe in your vision, you believe in your idea, I say go wholeheartedly at it.
For more information about the Creative Entrepreneurs Initiative and the Crafting the Bahamas workshops, email info@sbdcbahamas.com or call us at 461-7232.
Welcome back to the Rundown. A former Deputy Prime Minister says the Free National Movement's chances of winning the next general election could be in jeopardy if its decision to leave Dr. Hubert Minnis off the party's ticket is not reversed. And in this interview with our Devontae Hanna, he also breaks the silence on not receiving a nomination by himself. I told we don't have that story, but what I can tell you is the person we're talking about is a former Deputy Prime Minister, Desmond Bannister, who said that it was a poor decision leaving him off of the ticket, and that could hurt their chances. Well, we're going to do some heavy hitting on this whole political saga. Please welcome former Cabinet Minister of the Progressive Liberal Party, Leslie Miller. Sir, welcome to the Rundown. Good to have you back.
Good to be back. Good afternoon, Bahamas.
Okay, so let's start right there. We wanted to play that story with Desmond Bannister's comment, but we don't have it ready. But let me ask you, what say you? Did the F&M make the right decision to leave Dr. Minnis off of the ticket going into the next general election?
Well, they didn't not only leave him off, they also left for Bannister.
Yeah.
Desmond himself was left off. You know, I don't know, there's the strange things happen in this life. When I read the newspapers and saw that Loretta Butler-Turner had said what is happening there now is what happened to her and her crew. You know, life has come full circle.
Full circle. I think they do that story. Let's hear that story with Desmond Bannister, and we'll come back and comment. Take a look.
Bannister is mincing no words on the Free National Movement's future. Bannister, who served under Dr. Hubert Minnis, continues to support him.
The chances of the F&M winning without Dr. Minnis?
I'm here at the Dixon Hill Lighthouse in San Salvador to let you know that marine protected areas make dollars and cents. A well-designed and managed network of protected areas can generate income for nearby communities. From MPA managers to lodges to eco-tours, there is money to be made.
Healthy marine ecosystems help to protect our islands from climate change and other impacts that we cannot control. Healthy coral reefs help to break down fake waves, and mangroves absorb storm surge and help to protect our coastline.
Older and larger fish tend to carry more and healthier eggs than younger fish. Fish replenishment areas will allow fish to grow bigger and ensure that we have more fish now and in the future.
In a replenishment area, fish are free to grow and reproduce. As their populations increase, more fish will spill over into other areas where fishermen can increase their catch and their income.
I support the establishment of a marine protected area on my island.
I support the establishment of marine protected areas on my island.
I support the establishment of marine protected areas on my island.
I support the establishment of a marine protected area on my island, and you should too.
And you should too.
And you should too.
And you should too.
See the future with Bahamas Protected.
sitting here at our recently constructed observation deck at Harold and Wilson's Pond National Park. This is going to be the biggest undertaking that we have done as an organization with respect to the potential to reach the highest percentage of our population. We expect to have trails that run along old causeways that are part of the system, thousands of feet of first-class boardwalk, several observation decks, a couple of observation towers, a visitor center. We have interpretive panels that are going to be all along the boardwalk.
Well, we're definitely still developing the park. In the near future, we're hoping to have some kayaking facilities so we can do some kayaking as well as the bird watching. For the next year, we're going to be bringing school groups here pretty much on a daily basis. We're hoping that every school, particularly in New Providence, but also from the Family Islands, come down here to utilize this park.
From its biological or ecological perspective, this wetland system is perhaps the most important inland wetland system on the island of New Providence. It is easily the most important for not only migratory waterfowl and shorebirds, other wetland birds, but also for resident birds as well. So this is an important system.
People who are very interested in birding would come to this area and come bird watching. And it wasn't until there was a competition on how many birds that you could actually find that people realized that this is where you found the highest concentration in such a small area. And that's when everybody started getting a lot of interest in this area biodiversity-wise. The most important reason to protect this area definitely is because of the bird life here, particularly migratory species. You get species coming from as far away as Canada coming to use these ponds at certain times of the year. Over 100 different bird species have been seen utilizing this small area, which is, 250 acres. We have quite a bit of plant life, a good number of Bahamian representatives typical of inland wetlands, particularly the buttonwood and the leather ferns. Here we have a leather fern, which is a Bahamian native species. You find it typically in inland lakes around the Bahamas. They're quite spectacular. They're very large growing ferns and very typical of the landscape. Ferns.
Welcome back to the Rundown. We apologize for that break in transmission due to power cuts here on the Hill. Thankfully, the generator kicked in, and so we apologize for that. Continuing with our show, we were obviously listening to a story with the former Deputy Prime Minister speaking to the issue that there would be no nomination for the leader of the party, and I guess by extension himself, the former leader of the party, Dr. Hubert Minnis. Do we have that story? We'll go to that, and then we'll continue our discussion with Mr. Leslie Miller. Take a look.
Former Deputy Prime Minister Desmond Bannister is mincing no words on the Free National Movement's future. Bannister, who served under Dr. Hubert Minnis, continues to support him.
The chances of the FNM winning without Dr. Minnis are increasingly lower than they would have been with him.
Bannister is blasting the opposition leader Michael Pintard's decision to not give Dr. Minnis a nomination in Killarney on the FNM's ticket come 2026. The decision was announced at a press conference on Sunday.
Regrettably, this shield is going up to pretend that the division does not exist, because that seat now is going to be up for grabs. That is a seat that the FNM could have counted on, and not only that seat. The Central Grand Bahama seat is also a powerful FNM seat that's now going to be up for grabs.
Central Grand Bahama MP Iram Lewis left the FNM abruptly, siding with the Coalition of Independents last week, citing issues surrounding his candidacy. However, Mr. Pintard revealed all of the party's moves are intentional, right down to revealing Mr. Bannister himself would not receive a nomination, which the former Carmichael MP says caught him by surprise.
I love Carmichael. I deliberately did not apply to be an FNM candidate this time, because I knew that I would have been turned down. And I'm not going to allow the likes of the current leader to turn Desmond Bannister down.
Tonight, Bannister is cautioning Pintar to consider the past when making his decisions about the future of the F&M.
When people were telling Dr. Minnis that Mr. Pintar had contested 2 elections and not won any, Dr. Minnis gave him an opportunity. The same thing with Mrs. Nunn.
While the F&M has announced some of the candidates who will not return in the next general election, questions still linger surrounding who will fill those spots. Party Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands says expect some announcements by May 1st. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Devontae Hanna.
Thanks a lot, Devontae. Of course, to continue this conversation is former Progressive Liberal Party candidate, Cabinet Minister, Mr. Leslie Miller, to talk to us about this. So, sir, you heard the story. You heard, obviously, the decision made by Mr. Pintar not to run Dr. Minnis. What is your response to that?
I just find this to be so ruthless that a man who was appointed by Dr. Minnis to be in his cabinet as the Minister of Agriculture, which is really pretty low on the totem pole as far as brains in your head, that not only Dr. Minnis, but you look at the fact that 4.5 years ago, he was the Prime Minister of Commonwealth Bahamas. And his good friend, Desmond Bannister, was the deputy. And they nominated none of them. This could only happen in the country, in the Bahamas. And it could only happen somewhere with a ruthless mind to try to stifle and to degrade other men who's made a contribution to this country. I find it so belittling that those 2 men, who I have greatest respect for, could have been pushed aside in the manner in which they did. I'm very afraid if this man was ever get to the top post in this country as Prime Minister, what would happen to the average Bahamian of color? Life at Key, Old Fort Bay, and other big fellas like Simlis and them would be running this country like back in the UBP days. I'm very, very concerned about that. Very concerned. Very concerned.
Many people predict that the reason why Michael Pintar is making such bold decisions is to demonstrate that his F&M-led team is a new team heading in a different direction and trying to separate itself from the stigma and the past of the old regime, and many of these faces represent the old. And he's trying to obviously rebuild the F&M and give people a viable option of new.
What stigma do you put on someone like Desmond Bannister? What controversy he's ever been involved with? He's a good, hard-working, decent man. He did his job as Minister of Wicks. He was a good MP for the people of Carmichael. I just don't get it. I think it's just spite and hate and vengefulness to try to bring people to their knees in the front of the public. It is wrong, and it should not have been done. And I'm surprised that some in there would, in fact, I expect more of the Deputy Cartwright wouldn't have stepped in and say, listen, man, this is not how you do this. And other senior members of the PLP, of the F&M, should have stepped in and say, it's not done this way. You know.
Do you think this will hurt the F&M's chances at the polls?
You know, these things come and go. From my experience over the last 50 years, by July, the hell be cleared, and people will forget the incident that took place. My concern is that Bahamians don't vote for you, they vote against you. And we have more to lose as a party, the PLP, than the opposition. They have nothing to lose. They got a couple of seats now, and if whatever they win is an asset to them. And what we lose, of course, is a massive liability to us. I take nothing for granted with these people in Bahamas. Voters are very fickle people. You don't know what they're going to do. Some of them get emotional on election day. They look at you and they see what work you have done on their behalf. The saving point really for the PLP is Philip Brave Davis. They haven't begun to hate him yet. I've been through every constituency in this country, especially in New Providence, from June, Dave and I started the campaign door to door. And there's really still love for Mr. Davis. He's easy, affable fellow, easy to get along with, easy to see.
Are you saying based on the last few administrations we've had, around this time, there's normally a turn and disdain for
normally
the leader?
A turn would have already been to the leader. That hasn't happened to Mr. Davis as yet. He still has that affection. Most women, because, you know, then you go campaigning. Who do you see? You knock on the door, 85% of people that you talk to are women.
Right.
And they still have this like for him. They see him as an easy person to get along with. Of course, there's the things they want to get done. And I always say in any election, if you lose the women, you lose the election. The PLP need to pay more attention to the women and stop just catering to these some that they got in there. You know, the hogs that you can never satisfy, you know? It's time now to ease up of, you know, the people who are getting hurt in the party and forget about those who have gotten everything over the last 3.5 years and concentrate on those women. I can take you to some areas, bring tears to your eyes.
Really?
Yeah, you go in places like 5 Pound Lot, the Grove, Baintown, and certain areas. People are that stressful, you know, and they want to help. And anyone goes to Mr. Davis, I can always call him the go-to man. They're going to get the help. A lot of people are concerned about their future, their children's future. But if they were to make the mistake and put their hands, their future, in the hands of the leader of opposition who's there now, only God could help them. I'm really, really concerned as a Bahamian, you know, and someone who's from the same island as the leader of opposition, which is Ragged Island. He making us look bad with his vengefulness, with his pettiness, and the way he's treated men who has made a contribution to that party, the FNM.
Dr. Minnis has been unusually quiet.
Yes,
he's not said anything.
Very much so.
And on Sunday, Michael Pintard did say that there is a place for him, a role for him to play in the party.
In the kitchen somewhere.
And they're hoping that he would accept that role. He couldn't speak to whether or not he had accepted any role, and he did shed some light that there was some strenuousness in their relationship. We've not heard from Dr. Minnis. He's not responded. He's not said where he stands. What are you predicting? What are you thinking?
There's no way Mr. Minnis would be given Dr. Minnis any meaningful role in the FNM as long as Pintard is at the head. That cannot happen. And Dwayne Sands, don't forget, both of them are one, really. But Desmond Bannister is what intrigues me more than anyone. Because tell me, what has he done? Has he had a fight with the leader or Dr. Sands? No. So why do you treat him in the manner that you treat him? He's just a regular average Bahamian that most people care for. Even though he's FNM, most PLPs can get along with him. He's just a decent human being. So if you can treat him in that manner, what do you think about the average, ordinary Bahamian? How he would treat them, how he would disregard them? That's what bothers me. You know, their infighting is their infighting. That happens from time to time. But I guess Loretta Butler said it best when she said this morning that when Mr. Ingram and Mr. Minnis disregarded them, when they went to the Governor General and kicked him out as leader, he and the same man who's now doing it to him got together and got rid of them. So life is 360 degrees. What you do today, you come back and haunt you later on.
Do you think Dr. Minnis will just go away quietly, or do you think he will come back and perhaps run independently?
Well, the good thing about Dr. Minnis has going for him, he doesn't need anybody. He's a very wealthy man. He's a very successful businessman. I'm sure he'll run as an independent.
You think he will run?
There's no doubt he's going to run. Yeah, he's not going to lie down and allow this guy to get rid of him politically. He will run. I guarantee that. He will be on the ballot.
What does that mean for the Killarney seat?
The Killarney seat, Dr. Minnis has won that, 3-4 times in a row. He's very popular with people in Killarney. It'd be interesting to see who the, CI, who do you call this F?
The COI is running Dr. MacGyver, the deputy leader of the COI. She's running in Killarney. Then you have Progressive Liberal Party is running.
Senator.
He's looking to run there again. And then you have, if Dr. Minnis runs independent, and then you'll have the FNM candidate, which people are leaning toward, maybe Lincoln Deal for the FNM candidate.
Lincoln Deal.
So yeah, the young businessman from the Free National Movement. So you are going to have a 4-way race with 4 people who are pretty much well known.
In a 4-way race, Minnis would probably win.
You think so?
Yeah. I think he'd win in a 4-way race. In a 3-way race, yeah, I think he'd win. Because I think he's done a wonderful job. He's done a good job with the people in his constituency. He has a good rapport with them. And a lot of people in FNM, I think there's more people that go towards Dr. Minnis than they cater to the present leader. The present leader is not a popular man. It's just something about him that people can't get their arms around and say, I can like this guy. Not a guy, you know, some people you just cater to and an easygoing guy. That's what Philip Brave Davis had for himself. Just an easy fella that anyone is approachable. You know, you can see him, you know, and people can see the love in him. In the leader of opposition, you see spite and hate. You know, this vengefulness that when I win, I come in for you. That scared the hell out of me, I'll tell you, be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, really, it scares me for the average, ordinary Bahamian. Only God could help them if this guy was to win. I'm serious. I'm dead serious with that. That's the day I was born.
Let's take our final break. We're back after this. Stay close.
Hi, Phil Swift here for the Flex Seal family of flood protection products. Our flood protection products are specifically designed to work together in order to create multiple layers of super strong protection. All these windows, doors, seams, and openings have all been sealed up tight. Now there's a new way to protect your home or business from damaging floodwaters. Get the removable Flex Seal family of flood protection products.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this bring great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community, also help with the education of our kids in this community, and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahamas Stripe and the Bahamian Company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
Brought up on Wolf Road, living, you know, he has a feel for the down and out. And they got
Welcome back to the rundown. We're wrapping up in the final few minutes. I would like to check into the to the Lions Den to see what's happening in there. Boy, C. Allen's in the one with all of them mouth tonight. C. Allen Johnson says Leslie Miller has a credibility deficit. What do you say? C. Allen.
Who's C. Allen Johnson? Who's that? I don't believe in them clowns, man. Never accomplished nothing in their whole entire life except to criticize people. Those who can do and those who can't criticize. I ain't got time for fellas like him, man. I don't even know who the hell he is.
So,
I don't know him. Why would I want to know him anyhow?
We were giving analysis of the Ingram factor. What do you think the Ingram factor is in all of this with the FNM?
I believe in these elections. Again, I want to express my deepest sympathy to Mr. Ingram, the loss of his wonderful daughter. I know he's going through. Loss of a child is very, very difficult. I believe Mr. Ingram would probably play a pivotal role now. And the only man who could get the FNM back on track would be Hubert Alexander Ingram. I don't know how much effort he's going to put into what is going on in there to bring some calm and unity to that organization that he steered to the winning column in 1992. I would be, one man I would be afraid of is Hubert Ingram.
Why?
Because he has a persona about him. He's a man that you can believe in. If he tells you something, it's going to happen. He don't play games with you. And he don't allow those around him or those who try to get around him, like many others, to put things in his ear. He's his own man at all times, and he don't listen to some of the bottom feeders that like to hang around these prime ministers and people in position to just suck and suck and suck. You know, one of his closest friends was my good buddy, who's passed now, Boogaloo. You know, again, fellas who don't play games. You know, and that's what I love about my bone. And Mr. Davis has a similar capacity. He may listen to them. I think one of his greatest problems is that he listened to people, some people too much. Those who can do him no good. You know, but out of courtesy and his mannerism, he would entertain you. I think you need to cool off on that now with the election coming and listen to the voice of the poor, especially the women, if you want to get back in there. Like I say, there's still love for him.
What do you think the PLP, if there were three things you could say to the PLP that you need to focus on in the next 15 months, what would those three things be?
Number one, take care of the poor, especially the women. Go and listen to them. listen to what their needs are. Number two, go into those areas and show the people that you care for them, show them love. I think we need to do a massive cleanup program in this country. The Bahamas is filthy. You go through every corner in this country, you see a lot of derelict vehicles. You see property that hasn't been cleaned down in 20 years. We need to do better. And you got to show the way by assisting them, by showing them, here's the better way. We can give you a better chance. I think the food program, the luncheon program, the breakfast was a wonderful, wonderful thing. Mr. Davis and the Honorable Minister of Education deserve every credit. You'll be surprised how many kids used to go to school without breakfast. That's a serious
Surprisingly,
thing.
even Chairman of the FNM, Dwayne Sands, on this show last week actually said
very
that was one of the successful programs.
And, you know, he's done a wonderful job on that alone. The third problem would be to keep away from people who can't help you, who brings nothing to the damn table except complaint, and try to get every contract out there to the detriment of other people. Everybody can live in this country, you know. PLP or FNM. We're all equal in this country. And one should not be above the other. And like I say, the bottom feeders, always they're never satisfied. Never satisfied. I don't give a damn what you give them. You give them something today, they're coming back 10 minutes later. And they're the people that's getting very many Bahamians in the PLP angry, but the same crew over and over and over again. I think you need to now divest themselves of them. And they can't bring anything to the table, and they can't bring many votes. And people are watching very closely what is going the same crew over and over again.
What do you say to people who say, okay, well, Leslie Miller is saying this, but he's benefited by having government rent his buildings and rent his stuff. What do you say to people who say that?
Well, isn't that interesting? Because we had our leases in 2013 when we approached, when Robin had closed down. But what is more interesting to me, you have many black Bahamians are now getting involved in the real estate business. Sabas putting up some buildings. Adrian has a lot of buildings that he's putting up now. But they forget one thing. The white class in this country has been taking home over $53 million a year from government for rentals over the last 50 years. In excess of 50 million. But the minute the black fella get involved in something, they look down on him and try to kill him. Why don't you go look for the white damn fella sometime? But you all have no interest in them. That's the hate you got in there. That's why my father taught me one thing. See, God made black Bahamians on a Sunday when he was tired. See, they ain't gonna never be no good. They hate each other, and that's why I love my white brothers on Eastern Road. You know why? They help each other. They show love to each other. They don't have this hate in them because you're black. They love you because of who you are. And we need to stop this black crab syndrome. Whenever you see a black man doing anything good, they go after him. Mind you, they ain't gonna benefit from killing him, but they can kill him anyhow. And you know what I say to them? Go to hell. All of them, collectively. I don't ask you for nothing, and if I ask you for nothing, for as old as I am now, you know I ain't asking for 2 years, and then God take me home, right? So you ain't gonna right but me. And I ain't running no more either, so you can't tell me but Port Cake won't run again. I'll never run again. Make that clear to you. So what I got to lose? Nothing. I take care of my grandchildren and those that I love, and my children. That's it for me, nothing else. And to see that Philip Brave Davis makes 2 times.
All right.
That's my goal.
Mr. Leslie Miller, thank you. It's always a pleasure having you on The Rundown.
Pleasure to be here, sir.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
And that's it for us on The Rundown. Be sure to stay locked in this Saturday Network for the Bahamas tonight at 11. It's a final. Good night.
Little Caesars stuffed crust pizza. Get more pizza for less money. Only $12.